What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to TGI Raiders Friday Live. This is True Raider Podcast. What's going on, man? What's going on? Starting to get pretty excited. We got this week one matchup coming up. What up? What up, Billy? What's going on? Salute, salute. What's going on? Brian Rodriguez, man, you jump in the line, man. You jump in the line. But yeah, I mean, first off, I want to say thank all you for rocking with me, man. We just hit 500 subscribers. One of the things that was the goal over the last couple of weeks was to make it to 500 before week one, and you guys showed up and showed out. So that's what's up, man. I love that. I love that. We got a couple of things to talk about, man, and I'm just this news just hit, and I wasn't really expecting it, and so I didn't really have a lot of time to look at a whole lot of what's going on, man. There's already been there was just a press conference with AP, and he was only on for 2 minutes, man, and I was I thought that was weird. He seemed pretty upset, and one of the things he said is that Malcolm Koonce will not be playing. He suffered an injury during practice, man, and there's not a whole lot of information out yet. Let me see if I can pull this up. It says breaking: Raiders lose defensive end Malcolm Koonce to knee injury. Will miss season opener versus the Chargers. Thursday, Raiders edge rusher Malcolm Koonce left practice with a knee injury. And Friday, head coach Antonio Pierce announced Koonce will miss Sunday's game in Los Angeles against the Chargers. Koonce came on strong late last season and was the starting edge rusher opposite Max Crosby. Now the Raiders will look to one of the team's reserve edge rushers to fill in the last minute. When one guy's down, next man up mentality. The thing about it, Tyree Wilson, J-Rob, Denarius Robinson, those guys have had a lot of opportunities to play, and we expect them to step up and play well. And really, that's all we got, man. That is all we got. Now, I did see a video that got put out by Sanji T, man, and, I guess it was a non-contact knee injury. So a non-contact knee injury, typically we're looking at an ACL injury, right? And that's really concerning. I'm really not happy to hear this, man. You guys are getting live reaction right now. I just found out about this about 8 minutes ago. I was getting set up for the live and stuff and just kind of, scrolling through some things. And Malcolm Koonce, man, so in the last 8 games last season, he had 8 sacks, right? And he's coming into a contract year. He's in a position where it's looking like, he's actually probably going to have this really big breakout season. And then all of a sudden we get hit with this injury news, man. So I'm hoping that, he's just kind of twisted up and sore, maybe stretched ligaments kind of thing, not a tear. And we're going to find out here probably in the next coming days, man. But this is, it's not good, man. It's not good. Anthony, what's up? What's up, man? Last live before the game. Heck yeah, man. And we were able to hit the 500 subs before week one. So that's what's up, man. Let me see who else. Oh, Demokes, man. Demokes. Put in J-Rob. I trust him more than Tyree. Honestly, I do too. The only problem I've had with J-Rob is that he had those off the field issues right after signing, and I really didn't like, what that looked like. I do think that he's more ready than Tyree Wilson at this point. Tyree Wilson has really just shown throughout the offseason. We had, all these guys that were, he's in there playing with third and fourth stringers, and he still looked slow. He still looked really, really slow, man. He's starting to look like Lurch from the Addams Family, the butler, the guy that answers the door. Ooh. So, I mean, he's really not flashing anything. And I'm hoping that they did this thing during preseason where they put in Tyree they told him, hey, like, don't show everything that you picked up on this offseason, and that way we can surprise them week one. But I highly doubt that. We had a lot of good reports coming out of camp that were saying that he was learning better moves to get to the quarterback, that he was looking faster, he was getting off the snap quicker, and and it just, that's not what we saw in the preseason, man. What we saw was Tyree Wilson was very slow. Ernesto, um, uh, sorry, man, but it is true, man. Antonio Pierce just said it himself in the presser that he was injured during practice. It was yesterday's practice, and he's ruled out for week one against the Chargers, man. Um, Brian, trade for Hassan Reddick. I mean, Hassan Reddick, I think that the only way that we make a move like that is if Malcolm Koonce is deemed out for season or something like that. Then I think that we'd be in a position where we might make that kind of move. But besides that, like, really, if they think that Malcolm Koonce is only going to be out for a couple of weeks, I really think that they will just go ahead and play J. Rob, play Tyree Wilson, and see who steps up. I mean, sometimes it's when somebody gets that kind of opportunity that they really show up in a big way. We've seen it with a lot of players. The Brock Purdy's and Tom Brady's, and I mean, even Malcolm Koonce, right? Like, he was able to step up because Chandler Jones went off the handle. Josh McDaniels put Tyree Wilson in to start. That didn't work out very well. When Antonio Pierce took over as interim, he decided that he was going to go ahead and he was going to put in Malcolm Koonce as the starting edge opposite Max Crosby. And so this really significantly is going to affect our defense. It's really going to affect our defensive line. I think unless Janarius Robinson is the guy and really steps up, that we're going to be in a position where we're going to have to do a lot more blitz packages than really originally thought. Because what it was looking like was that our front 4 or 5 were going to be able to do a good enough job with the pass rush that we weren't going to have to um, do too much blitz, which is ideal, right? Because then if we drop everybody else back, we're getting better coverage. Because Herbert, let's face it, man, Herbert is a good quarterback, right? Um, and he has the ability to tear up our defense if we let him, and also, um, Malcolm Koonce has been playing well against the run, and Jim Harbaugh is known for going hard on the run. Yeah, I mean, Billy, I agree, man. We'll still be good. I don't think that the loss of Malcolm Koonce puts us in a position where all is lost and we're going to lose. And, I don't see that. But it's going to have a big impact on the game. I think that our defense will struggle more just because of it. Also, I want to pull up this injury report that I saw, man, because it did expand. Let me see. There we go. So Raiders injury report, man. So now we have a lot more players on this injury report. We got tight end Brock Bowers with a foot injury. He was limited Wednesday and Thursday. Linebacker Tommy Eichenberg, injury knee, limited Wednesday, Thursday. DeCamerion Richardson, hamstring. He was limited on both Wednesday and Thursday. Malcolm Koonce, knee injury, not listed on Wednesday, limited on Thursday. So I think that limited and it's highlighted was that he only practiced until the injury happened, right? Because it did happen Thursday. Then we got long snapper Jacob Bobenmoyer, abdomen injury. He was full practice Wednesday and Thursday. Colton Miller, shoulder, full on Wednesday, Thursday. Robert Spillane, back injury, full practice Wednesday, Thursday. Tyree Wilson, foot injury, full practice Wednesday, Thursday. And then Jackson Powers Johnson, illness, did not participate on Thursday. So I'm getting a little concerned with this Tyree Wilson foot injury thing because he had that foot surgery when he came into the league, and that was the excuse for him having such a slow start and all these things. But like, I don't know how I feel about this, man, because after having a surgery last year, then he had the rest of the season. He had a full off season, and now his foot is injured. Um, it, I don't know, man. It's starting to look more and more like we drafted a guy that has major injury concerns, and that's why a lot of teams were talking about passing on him last year in the draft. And then Jackson Powers Johnson, it says illness, right? But this dude has spent a lot of days on the injury report, man, and I'm getting kind of concerned about him. I saw an interview with him a couple of days ago, and he kind of looked concerned, man, and he looked kind of out of it. I'm hoping that it was that he was just starting to come down with this illness and that he wasn't feeling well. But I mean, the way he looked was concerning to me, man. He looked pretty worried, man, and I don't like that. Could be that he knows some stuff about his injury stuff or concussion stuff that we don't, and it's concerning him. Or I could just be reading into it too much. I don't know. And then the Chargers, they got wide receiver DJ Clark Jr. out, hip injury, did not participate Wednesday, Thursday. Justin Herbert is listed with a foot injury. He was full practice. I don't really think it's going to affect him. I guess that they were advised to add him to the injury report. And then wide receiver Joshua Palmer, knee injury. He did practice full on Thursday. And then cornerback Tarheeb Still, hip injury, limited practice both Wednesday and Thursday. So, we got a lot of people on this injury report, man, and I'm hoping that the majority of them are going to be able to play full. Anthony, this really sucks, man. Not on this defense. Well, Mad Max is going to have to be even a bigger role model for this defense. Yeah, man. And with Christian Wilkins coming in next to Max Crosby, I'm not like super concerned that Malcolm Koonce isn't going to be there. But man, just having that whole dynamic of like having to watch out for Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins on this side, and then you have Malcolm Koonce swinging around the blind side of the quarterback, man, and there's such an advantage to having that. And Janaris Robinson looked okay in preseason. Tyree Wilson did not, and I just don't know that we're going to get appropriate pass rush from the blind side, man, and that really upsets me, man. Let's see, Billy, but we don't know how long he will be out. If you're talking about Koonce, yeah, we have no idea at this point. I'm sure they're doing all their scans and trying to get a good read on the situation. And I have a feeling that we're going to end up knowing by the time we play the Chargers. But yeah, man, I'm just hoping that it's not bad news, man. If it's like a torn ACL and he has to go into surgery and he's down for the season, it's just, man. And then that's a rough break for him too, right? Because he's, on a contract year where he's anticipating being able to go out there and really show out and earn himself a big contract. And then if he goes down for the whole season with an injury, that really is going to hinder his chances on being able to secure the bag, man. See, Brock's no worry. AP has said he's playing Sunday, even though limited practices. Honestly, I'm seeing a lot of stuff that they're basically kind of they're giving him like the superstar treatment, right? Like, I haven't personally seen this a lot with rookies, like where, it's like, oh, well, you're not really having to practice a whole lot, and we're just going to make sure you're healthy and safe. That way you're available for the game. And I think that there's a lot of indicators that show that, Brock Bowers is going to be a huge part of this offense. And so, to have him out there getting, unnecessary reps when he's healing up from an injury, it's like, it makes sense to me, right? Let's make sure he's healthy for when it counts. Because I think that they have a strong belief in his athletic ability and his knowledge of the playbook and ability to execute, right? So if somebody is showing up and being able to do all of these things, why put them in harm's way when they're nursing an injury a little bit, right? So yeah, Brock is going to play Sunday. Yeah, man. It's going to be really awful if Malcolm Koonce goes out, and then Jackson Powers Johnson, right? There was some speculation that he might even be able to get himself in position to be a starter by week one, and that's really not what it's looking like right now. It's really actually looking like, with this illness and things like that, he probably won't even play, to be honest. And it would be nice if he at least gets some reps. It'd be nice to see him out there, but I think that we're in a spot where it's like, why push these rookies, right? First and second round rookies, and put them in harm's way when we don't really need to yet. Now, Cody Whitehair, he's going to be our starting left guard, and I don't really have a whole lot of confidence in him. I think the real upside to him is that he's familiar with Luke Getsy's offense already. So, with him being familiar with it, that means that he can execute what's asked of him uh, easier than some of the other players that are, still learning this new offense and stuff. But I mean, really, let's face it, Jackson Powers Johnson being out there gives us the best chance possible for our offensive line. And if we're not executing well on our offensive line, then our run game is going to suffer. And if our run game suffers, then they're gonna it's gonna make it really difficult on Garner Minshew to come out here and really show up. Now, I think that even though there's a new regime, there's new coaching, there's new coordinators, all that stuff with the Chargers, I still think that Tom Telesco, knowing that roster inside and out, with besides the additions of this year, it really gives an advantage that he knows some of the weaknesses and things like that to look for, right? He knows some of the offensive linemen on what things typically beat them, and same with like Justin Herbert, and so I'm really hoping that gives some kind of advantage for us. But Jim Harbaugh, like I'm not trying to go into this overconfident, right? Because Jim Harbaugh he's a good coach. He wins wherever he goes, whether it's NFL, college, whatever. And just because he hasn't been in the NFL for a while doesn't really mean anything, because he's been coaching this whole time. And he's been coaching college players, these young players. He's up to speed with what's happening right now in football. I still don't think, though, that with their current roster and new regime, that they're going to come in and just kind of, you know, dominate year one. I think that this is going to be the year where they just kind of get acclimated and get headed in the right trajectory to what they're trying to do. So really, I honestly believe that the Chargers and the Broncos are going to be fighting for third place, right? And I believe, of course, the Raiders. I would love for them to beat out the Chiefs and win our division. But being realistic, I think that the Chiefs are going to still win our division. I think that we'll come in second place in our division, and I'm just getting excited, man, for week one. I think that the Chargers have a lot to prove, because last time we met up with them, they got their asses kicked, right? 63-21. That's an embarrassing game. And anybody that's left over from that regime, they're going to want to show up, right? They're going to want to kind of earn their pride back, right? And I don't think that we're going to go in overconfident, like, oh, we whooped them last time, we don't even have to try, because I do believe that the idea is going to be make a statement, right? We want to definitely make a statement that this is how we play against you, regardless of regime. Anthony, what's your keys to victory? I think keys to victory: defense, get on Herbert early. Media and Charger fans can say he's 100%. I don't believe that. Be aggressive on first drive, limit mistakes. So keys to victory. The first key to victory, and I'll go with you, man, on the defense, right? Defense has got to get on Herbert early, because, plantar fasciitis, man, he's saying that that's not what it is, And I think that he's saying that because that's a condition that does not go away, right? That is something that can significantly slow down the mobility of anybody, but definitely a quarterback. So I don't think that Herbert's going to be at full speed. I think that he's still going to have a great ability to throw. So I really think that, one of the keys to victory is that with losing Malcolm Koonce, that we're not, pushing all these blitzes and leaving receivers open, because Herbert he's strong. He'll be breaking a tackle and make a throw still, right? Um, and we can't be giving up a bunch of rushing yards to Justin Herbert. And if he goes for the run, we need to hit him, make him feel it. Another one is not taking too much off the line of, I mean, yeah, letting the line of scrimmage just really show up, right, and put that pressure on him. On offense, the big one's going to be Garner Minshew, man. We got to win the turnover battle, because if we start throwing picks, if we start having fumbles, the Chargers are going to capitalize on that, man. They really, really are. And I guess like I think one of the surprise keys to victory is going to be for us in special teams. I really do believe that we're going to have a great ability to make good returns on kicks, and I think that that's going to put us in good field position. And as long as we capitalize on the field position that we get from that, I want to see drives not left with points that we wish we had on the board. Right, kick those field goals, man. If it's questionable, just kick the field goal, man. Get the points on the board. We saw a bunch of games last year where if we had just kicked the field goals that were available to us, then we would have won those games, right? And so that's what I really want to see. I think another one's going to be our secondary, man. I think our secondary is going to really show what they're made of. I think we're going to be able to, because let's face it, they're not going to pick on Jack Jones. Nate Hobbs is always somebody to worry about, and our safeties, they perform at a high clip. So I think that they're going to be picking on Jacorian Bennett, and if Bennett can limit his penalties, I think that he has good sticky coverage, and I think that he'll do just fine, man. See, I don't know if you saw the game yesterday, but Baltimore surprisingly had quite a few mistakes. We could beat them. I did get to see little bits here and there. I was pretty busy while the game was going on, especially early on in the game, man. What I was seeing was a team that's not showing up the way that they've been showing up. They're making a lot of mistakes. Honestly, they're probably going to clean them up by week 2. And, because of this loss, they're really going to want to show up and not start the season 0-2. So I think that we're going to have a really tough game against Baltimore. They did come back, and that's the part of the game that I really missed, was when they made that comeback, because all of a sudden I tuned back in and it was like 20-27. I was like, oh, dang, they might actually do this. And then, I think it was by that much that they didn't get to take it to overtime. So, they still showed that they can compete with the Chiefs. There was a lot of questionable calls. It's definitely been all over social media about the questionable calls. But, that's when you play the Chiefs, you're also playing the refs. That's just how it is, man. That's how it used to be with the Patriots. Ernesto, don't know why the media is always so hyped on the Chargers. Not only this year, but all the time. This hater on a podcast said the Chargers are resting their starters on the season finale. Wow. So, honestly, man, I don't know why everybody always has such hype on the Chargers. I think it's because they have Justin Herbert, right? Like right now, I saw a thing that PFF projected us to win 5 games. 5. And that is just despicable to me. 5 games. So let's see. Let's do a recap. Last year, we started off with Jimmy Garoppolo, who we knew was injured, who we knew was not a great quarterback. Then we had Josh McDaniels, who was already failing as a head coach. We had the whole Chandler Jones thing. There were several things that just, we had a game where we started Brian Hoyer. And through all that, man, and we ended up with Antonio Pierce as interim head coach, Bo Hardegree calling plays, um, Aiden O'Connell ends up the starter, and we still won 8 games. With all of that, what they're looking at is that we're going to be worse than that. Doesn't make any sense to me, right? If you look at our quarterback position, would I take Gardner Minshew or Jimmy Garoppolo? That one's a no-brainer to me. I'm gonna take Mr. Mustache Man, Gardner Minshew any day over Jimmy Garoppolo. Let's see. Would I rather have Antonio Pierce or Josh McDaniels? I want to start the season with Antonio Pierce. Then we have the addition of Brock Bowers. Our offensive line has improved. Let's see, what else do we got? Our defense. The addition of Christian Wilkins alone is huge, right? Malcolm Koonce being out, that kind of scares me a little bit. But yeah, our defense is going to play at a higher clip than they did last year. Then we got our linebacking room is so deep, man, so deep. I mean, we got Tommy Eichenberg and Amari Gaynor, who are, reserves, man. And those dudes, I think, could end up being starters, man. So, we got a lot of things that it's ridiculous that they really think that we're going to do so poorly. And so, really coming back to it, Ernesto, is that these mainstream media people, they don't really know shit. They don't, man. They're not specializing on specific teams most of the time, right? Usually they're looking at the broad picture and da da da. And so they look at the quarterback, right? And they say, oh, they have Gardner Minshew. Nah, they're not going to do great, right? Justin Herbert's way better than Gardner Minshew, and he is. That does not mean that the Chargers are going to do better than us. Justin Herbert was better than Jimmy Garoppolo. We won more games than them last year, and we whooped their 63-21 with Aiden O'Connell, right? Granted, Justin Herbert wasn't in that game, but I don't think that was going to make the difference because our offense was playing very well. Yes, we did score some defensive touchdowns, but it wasn't if they didn't score those defensive touchdowns, they would have never won that game. No, that's not how it was, right? We were going to win that game either way. We just happened to stack those on, add insult to injury, right? Let's see. Anthony, that'll be our luck cleaning their mistakes. It's going to be physical, but he still have our chances. Um, I think a big one, man, is that physicality that Antonio Pierce always talks about, right? That he wants them to leave the game feeling it. They want to feel that they played against the Raiders, and I don't think that this Chargers team is really. They're not built like that, man. Like they always end up with a bunch of injuries, man. And Joe Alt, he's a great tackle. He's moving from left tackle to right tackle, and now he's got to get matched up with Max Crosby, with Christian Wilkins right next to him, week 1. So that's going to put this rookie off to a rough starting spot. Their receivers, man, I don't have a whole lot of confidence in their receivers. Even, Chargers people are not being able to hype up their receivers very well. And I don't think that Justin Herbert is good enough of a quarterback to go out and do it with nobody receivers like Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes, you put him with any receivers, and apparently he goes and wins the Super Bowl, right? But that's not Justin Herbert, man. The media and the NFL, they've hated the Raiders for a long time, man. I have some opinions about that, but, it is what it is, man. I think that we're due to make a comeback in that area. And really, if we show up, they got no choice but to put some respect on our name, man. And so I think this is our prove it year, that we need to go out there and prove that we are a legitimate threat in the NFL. See, man, look, Jimmy failed me last year. Of course, almost everyone in the nation really did not like that pickup. I had to try and calm them down. and look at all the accomplishments in San Francisco. The thing with Jimmy Garoppolo, man, I don't know. I tried to be optimistic because I looked at, okay, he's got a winning record, right? He's played in big games. He supposedly knows Josh McDaniel's system really well. And then he showed up, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, he failed his physical. Well, red flag. Then it's like, all right, Jimmy Garoppolo really doesn't have the deep ball. Oh, it turns out that he doesn't actually, I forget his words, man, but he was in a presser where he basically said, like I don't really know this system as well as Josh McDaniels is making it sound. And I started seeing red flag, red flag, red flag. I went, oh crap, man. Do I think we would have been better off with Derek Carr last year? Yeah, for sure. Do I think that moving on from Derek Carr was the right thing? I believe so. Do I think the way that they did it was proper? No. Really, I think that they could have done a couple of things, right? They could have, one, actually gotten some trade capital off of Derek Carr. That one's a no-brainer. There was teams that were asking about him. Even if you got a third-round pick for, like, get something. Another one was tell him, like, look, man, we're going to get rid of you. Take a huge pay cut and we'll keep you. Cool. But Josh McDaniels was so convinced that he was going to get Tom Brady that he couldn't approach the situation properly, man. And we ended up where we ended up, and it is what it is. Billy, are we starting winning? And it will happen this season. Facts, man. We're going to the playoffs. I honestly believe that we're going to the playoffs, man. I've never been into sports betting, but I've been really considering going and putting some money on it, right? Because we're such underdogs right now, and I thoroughly believe that we have what it takes to go ahead and get into some big games. Do I think that, like, oh, for sure we're going to the Super Bowl and that, like, I can't honestly say that, man. If we made it to the Super Bowl, would I be like, oh my God, I can't believe that happened? No, I'd be like, yeah, we showed up, right? So with that being said, that gives me full confidence in our ability to make it to the playoffs, and that gives me full confidence in our ability to even win at least one playoff game. We got to break that streak, man. We're on like one of the top teams for losing streak in the playoffs, and that's sad, man. Like coming from commitment to excellence to we haven't won a playoff game in over 20 years. It's time to break that, man. It's time to break that streak. You know, we can't go on like that, especially not with all the hype that we have, all the buy-in. Honestly, I think Antonio Pierce is a great coach. I've had people try to talk shit with me about Antonio Pierce and his abilities, and some people in the nation call him motor mouth and all this shit, and really, it's like I don't know what these people really think, right? Because what do we actually need out of head coach, right? Somebody who people will run through a brick wall for. We need somebody who, fixes the culture. People have the buy-in, right? We need somebody that's not going to make dumb mistakes. And we need somebody who's going to put the right people around them. And that's what we got, right? We don't need a head coach that's going to be like a Josh McDaniels where he's like a offensive guru and he's calling all the plays and our offensive coordinators, who knows what he's even doing, right? And like that kind of stuff has shown not to work so well for us, right? So if we have a head coach that stays in his lane and he handles people, he handles personnel, perfect, right? And then you let your personnel that are in place handle the people that you put in place. And if you let people do their job, then people do their job. That's a simple one, man. Simple. Curator, I believe AP breaks that we making the playoff and winning a game. Sure, I'm not going to say this team is Super Bowl ready yet. Honestly, if If we didn't have such a question mark at the quarterback position, I'd be feeling like we're Super Bowl ready across the rest of the roster. There's also a big question mark with our offensive coordinator. Our offensive coordinator has got to be able to do better than Josh McDaniels did, and he's got to be able to do better than Bo Hottergree, right? And if that's the case, then I don't see why there's no reason we shouldn't win at least 9, 10, 11 games. Now, if Luke Getsy turns out to be a big flop and there's a huge reason why it didn't work out with the Bears, we're going to find out quick. But then it's going to be difficult, right? Because then everybody is going to say, well, it's Gardner Minshew. It's Gardner Minshew. Then if Aiden O'Connell goes in, they're going to say, oh, it's Aiden O'Connell, and it's like, well, it might be our coordinator. I think that AP is going to show up in the right capacity. He's going to be able to do the right things. I don't think he's just a rah-rah guy. I think that a big part about, okay, like, have you ever worked at a place where people were very unhappy with management? Because I have. And people don't work very hard when they cannot stand their supervisor, when they can't stand administration, when they have all these resentments. People very much underperform. Now, I've worked at places like where I work now, where people love the supervision, people love administration. People are bought into what we're doing, and people really show up and give their all. And that's exactly what Antonio Pierce is putting in place. Not to mention, he brought in some good coaching staff. He brought in some really knowledgeable people that I trust, man. No name, what's going on? What's going on? You think we'll be 8-9 or 9-8? I think that we're going to be 10-7. 10-7 is my official prediction. I have to put that out in the universe before week 1. 10-7. If I had to go over or under, I would say over. I do believe we have the ability to win 11, even 12 games, but I'm going with 10. We do have a rough schedule, and we got a lot of question marks, right? Question marks with Luke Getsy, question marks with Gardner Minshew. But really, I think that Gardner Minshew, he's a good quarterback, right? Is he a top 10? No. And I've been saying it since I started this channel in February, right? Is that we don't need the superstar quarterback necessarily, right? Would it be nice to have it? Yeah, sure. I wanted Jaden Daniels. We didn't get him. What we need is somebody that's going to be not a bottom of the barrel quarterback. We need somebody that's at least mid-tier, right? If we got a top 20 quarterback with this roster, I think that we're going to go ahead and go to the playoffs, man. Billy's saying 13-4. Fuck it, right? Shit, I'm probably not supposed to cuss on here. 11-5. Anthony's saying 11-5. I'm saying 10-7. Like, if I had to put money down today, I'm saying 10-7. I'm saying 10-7 and we make it into the playoffs. Would I put money on that we would get a playoff win? Depends on how much we're talking, man. Also depends on who we're playing. I think if we're playing against somebody like if we were to, let's say, play the Chiefs week 1 of the playoffs, I think that we would really show up for that game. I really do. Would I put my property on it? No. But I'm not trying to lose my property either, man. I'm not trying to gamble with my property. See, we need O-line domination. I don't see that happening this year. I like Thayer Mumford. I think Thayer Mumford has the ability to play better than Jermaine Illuminor. Jermaine Illuminor was good, right? But he had a lot of really awfully timed penalties that really hurt us in the long run. And then there was that game against the Chargers where he gave up 6 sacks against Khalil Mack, man. That's nasty. So I think that Thayer Mumford is better than Jermaine Illuminor. And then DJ Glaze has shown a lot of promise. I know he's a rookie. He's third. But he might even beat out Thayer Mumford for that job at some point. So besides that, my only big question mark on our offensive line is that we have Cody Whitehair starting at left guard. I really don't like that. Jackson Powers Johnson, once he actually gets into that position, I think that he's going to be great as long as he stays healthy, right? Because your best ability is your availability, right? What's your score prediction for Sunday? People saying Chargers scoring like 20 to 27 points. They scored 21 when we smashed them. They don't got an offense anymore. 27-7 Raiders. Okay, so my prediction is 24 to 21 Raiders winning. That's what I got. Um, and my reason for that is I think it's going to be a close game. I don't think that we're going to go out there and smash them. I don't think that they'll allow that again. But I also don't think that they're going to beat us, man. You know, we got a handful of some tough games to start the season, and we need to start off with a win. We absolutely do. Prediction is Tyree Wilson not making the team next year. I would not be surprised. With Malcolm Koonce being out on injury, Tyree Wilson might get thrown into that position. If we start Tyree Wilson instead of Janarius Robinson on the opposite Max Crosby, he better show up. It's year 2. He's out of excuses, right? I know he's on the injury report with a foot injury, but he's out of excuses, man. Last year, it was rookie year. He, just had that surgery, blah, 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 blah. Excuse. No more, man. Now it's you show up. And if he can't show up this year, yeah. Take it as another failed first-round pick for the Raiders. Move on. All Tyree does is bull rush. He has no moves. And like that worked really well for him in college because he was bigger than these guys, right? But this is the NFL. These guys are bigger, stronger, more talented. He's got to start executing more moves, man. And I don't know, man. They were talking during camp like as if he had learned some moves and things, and like that's really not what we saw in preseason. What we saw in preseason was somebody who was slow. And I don't know if it's really a speed issue, right? Because I saw some of his college tape where, he just ran around tackles and would dive and get the quarterback because he's really long. Pause if necessary. But that's not what we're seeing, right? And I'm wondering if it's a processing issue, right? Like the being able to process that the snap has been made, snap counts, things like that. That these other more seasoned players, they're quick off the snap because they know how to play it, right? They're processing it quick enough that they react to it. And I don't. The more I watch him, the more it just seems like he's not processing it as quick as other players. And so then he's slow off the line. And if you're slow off the line, well, that tackle already has a step on you. He's able to get in position, get his leverage right, and then you're screwed, right? The reason why Max wins so many reps is because he's so quick off the snap that right tackle is scrambling to try to get a better position on him, but Max Crosby's already a step or two ahead of him. And, and so when you see, snaps where, the tackle is up to speed with Max Crosby and how quick he reacts to the snap, those are the times that it's like, you'll see, it's like, damn, where the hell was Max Crosby, man? He didn't have a chance on that one, right? And it happens. And that's because of the timing. Now, if Tyree Wilson can't get that timing down, can't process quick enough, he's never going to win reps. He's not. He's not going to go out there and just overpower these huge offensive linemen in the NFL. He's just not. He's got to be able to beat them with speed, and he's got to get a couple moves in there, man. You're exactly right, No Name. If he doesn't start doing that, I don't know, man. He's just going to get beat. He's going to end up being like Byron Young, right? And we watched Byron Young all preseason just get pushed around, and then he's over there on the Eagles talking shit about the Raiders, which, man, like, have the audacity, man. Like, the Raiders took him in the 3rd round. he didn't show up the way that he needed to show up. Then he wants to talk shit on the Raiders like, oh, now I'm with a better organization and blah, blah, blah. Exactly. Byron Young was ass. I don't even know why we drafted him, right? And like when I was doing like mock drafts and all that stuff, his name kept popping up, right, constantly. And it was more like the 4th or 5th round. And I kept like taking a look at him and going, well, I could see the Raiders maybe taking a chance on this guy. And the more I looked at it, the more it was just like, man, that's a bad decision, man. We need to not be doing that. And boom, there we hit him in the 3rd round. We picked him up before Trey Tucker. And when that happened, man, I said, man, it's too early. But I said that about DJ Glaze too, man. DJ Glaze was not even on the radar when we picked him 3rd round. I went, who? And so then I looked him up and I went, why? And now all of a sudden in camp, he's showing up, man. He's showing up in a big way. And there's even been talks about him winning the job. So I think that they thought that about Byron Young, that he would come in and do that kind of same thing. And, some people show up to the NFL and their effort multiplies. Like Max Crosby came in as a 4th round pick, and he came into the NFL and he really put his all and progressed, and he continues to do that. Those are the guys that are successful in this league. The majority of players, at least my opinion, they get to the NFL and they're like, I made it. I got paid. And then they slack off. And then they find out that they only have a 3-year career in the NFL, 4 years maybe, and then they're out the league. If somebody wants longevity in this league, they gotta put in that work. Brock Bowers, he's going to play. Antonio Pierce has already said he's going to play. He's been limited in practice, but I don't think that they're really too concerned about his injury and his ability to play week 1. I think that they were just making sure that he was going to be healthy week 1. And that tells me that they're confident in his physical ability and that his knowledge of the playbook is good, right? And if he's got those things, then it's all right to sit him. So yeah, Brock Bowers, yeah, Billy, he's Brock Bowers is going to be playing Sunday. And I'm excited, man. I'm excited to see Brock Bowers. You guys let me know. Who are the players that you're most excited to see? Not like who's going to be the surprise guy that shows up, right? Like, let's go with who are you excited to watch? The first one I'd have to say is Brock Bowers, right? I'm really excited to see how he shows up right away, right? Because typically tight ends don't really show up big in year 1. He's not really your typical tight end, though. This guy's going to be playing slot. He's going to be playing wide. He's going to be playing fullback, tight end. And I think that we're going to really see, even game 1, some good things out of Brock Bowers. Who else am I excited? I'm also excited to see Jack Jones. Jack Jones, while being a Raider, has not played against Justin Herbert. I would love to see him get a good pick, especially a pick 6 against Justin Herbert. That can quiet down all that stuff of, that 63-21 game, they were playing against the backup and blah, blah, blah. Like, I like that Herbert's healthy, right? I don't want to be playing against some beat-up team. No backups. I'm excited to watch Brock Bowers, Crosby, and Wilkins actually try unlike the preseason. Exactly. Crosby and Wilkins, man, in the preseason, it was very clear, man, that, the effort, it was preseason, right? They're not trying to show their hand before they get out there, man. They're not trying to get hurt. They're just getting some reps. It is what it is. And I'm really interested to see what that's going to look like with Max Crosby and Christian Wilkins side by side, man. Because there's a lot of hype, right? Raider Nation has a lot of hype around that. We have high expectations. And so it's going to be really important for those guys to be able to meet those expectations. And honestly, I'm not really worried about it. I don't think that we're going to end up with this flop signing. Like everybody's saying, oh, Raiders made a bad signing and they overpaid him and blah, blah, blah. And no, man. This dude can stop the run. He can get to the quarterback. He takes double teams. And really, I mean, if you're the right tackle and right guard for the Chargers, who do you choose? Are you going to double up Max and leave Christian Wilkins single man? Are you going to double Christian Wilkins and leave Max Crosby single man? Like, what's that going to look like? Billy Davis, man, he's talking about Wilkins, Bowers, and Jack Jones. Yeah, man, I think that we're having kind of a common theme here, right? Where these are the guys that we really want to see, you know? Raider Chaos, salute. What's up, man? Glad you made it. Christian Wilkins and Max on the sides. Yeah, man. I mean, that whole matchup, God, man. I mean, forever, we've just been needing defensive linemen to really complement Max Crosby, man. And we have that. With Malcolm Koonce being injured, that really sucks because it's taking away from the other side of the line. And I really hope that they start Janarius Robinson, because I don't think Tyree's it, man. When we picked up Tyree Wilson, man, at first I was just really upset because we didn't get Jalen Carter, right? And then I started looking at his tape and I went, oh, wait, they might be onto something, right? This guy sits 1 year behind Chandler Jones. We might have something here. That's not what happened. So really, I still think, even with the absence of Malcolm Koonce, Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby are going to cook. No name. Who do you think will get the first interception of the season? I'm going to say it's Trayvon Merrick, man. I think Trayvon Merrick is going to get the first one. He's been really stepping up his game, man, and I think it's going to be him, man. I wanted to say Jacorian Bennett just because I really think that Jacorian Bennett's going to show up, right? Like the sleeper player for week 1, man, I think is going to be Jacorian Bennett. I think that a lot of people underestimate him. I think he's going to get picked on a lot. I think that Justin Herbert isn't going to want to throw it to Jack Jones a whole lot, and they're going to pick on Janarius Robinson, right? They're going to think this is the weak point of the defense and attack that, right? So they're going to be attacking Janarius. Am I saying Janarius Robinson, man? Fuck, dude. Jacorian Bennett. Damn. But Janarius Robinson too, right? Because he's going to be, if he's the guy that goes in for Malcolm Koonce, they're going to be picking on, that whole left side, right? They're going to be thinking Malcolm Koonce is gone. We're going to pick on that spot. And then we got Jacorian Bennett. We're going to pick on that spot. And I think they're going to pay for it. I think that Jacorian Bennett's going to make them pay for it. Okay, Anthony's saying first interception, Jack Jones. And for me, that's the easy answer, right? Is Jack Jones. But I mean, honestly, you could be very right. Jack Jones he's a beast, man. He really is. Raider Chaos. I wanted to see the big 3: Koonce, Crosby, and Wilkins. Yeah, dude, this is it's deflating. That's the only word I can think of, man. It's deflating to find out that Malcolm Koonce is not going to be in. But at this point, I'm just hoping that it's a minor injury and that he'll be back at least by week 3. Because if he's got a torn ACL, man, these injuries where they, no contact knee injury, that's a bad sign, man. And I tore my ACL when I was in, must have been in 8th grade, man. And, I never really performed the same as an athlete after that, man. I was a 4-sport athlete and I didn't get surgery or nothing like that. Growing up in a poor family, it was like, suck it up. And thing still gives me problems, man. That thing hurts on a regular. They should use Tyree as a DT. I think he does way better at DT. Um, John Jenkins would really be the only swap out. But like when we line up five, I love for it to be, like Malcolm Koonce, Tyree Wilson, John Jenkins, Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby. Like boom, like that is like the dream team right there, man. I love that lineup. But with Malcolm Koonce gone, you could do the same and just, sub out J Rob, right? You got Janarius Robinson on the outside. He's good, man, but he's no Malcolm Koonce. Yeah, man. The more we talk about it, the more I'm kind of worried about that side of the line. I don't think it's gonna hurt us too bad, man. But it's just not gonna be what it was supposed to be. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, man. We just gotta hope it's not season ending. I think they're just being cautious with him. It doesn't sound serious. I really hope it's not. What I've heard so far was that he got carted off the field, that it was a non-contact knee injury, and speculation, not official speculation, but just speculation, is that when it's a non-contact knee injury, it's usually an ACL. So we'll see how it's going, man. Ooh, CBS is reporting its knee soreness. Oh, dude, I hope so, man. I hope so. I haven't been able to. I found this out like 8 minutes before I went live. So if you guys catch any updates like that, man, I'll love to hear it. I'll love to hear it. Oh, man, I hope so. Because if we get him in week 2 against the Ravens, cool. But, man, I wanted to see them out there against Herbert, man. I did. Just an opinion for you. If you got the money, go get that checked out, get surgery if needed. I mean, if you're still in pain years later, you probably have a good point there, Anthony. I do have decent insurance. I support a family of 4 on one income, man. So that is what it is, It's not like there's just a bunch of money to throw around. But that is a good point, man. It's been, 24 years and it still hurts. I mean, it's not like how it used to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, it used to be that randomly my knee would just kind of like tweak to the side and I'd drop to the ground, and it's not like that today, but it was bad for a long time. Knee soreness, ice it up. You will be cleared for Sunday. Hey, man, I hope you're not talking about me, Anthony, because I don't put me in, coach. Don't put me in. No, but like that would be great if he was able to just kind of rest up, nurse his injury, get back. They say, oh, he's good for Sunday, but Antonio Pierce already said he's not playing. And so I doubt that they're going to go ahead and change their mind on that. See, head coach Antonio Pierce said Koonce is out for Sunday's game against the Chargers with knee soreness. Vic Chafer of the Athletic reports. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you guys caught Antonio Pierce's presser earlier, but he was only on for like 2 minutes, man, and that's really all he talked about, and he looked really upset about it. Coach did not look very happy. So just to make it very clear, everybody, I am going to be doing a watch party on Sunday against the Chargers. I'll probably go on, 15 minutes or so before the game starts. So just, keep an eye out, man. I'll definitely be here rocking. If you guys are like me, man, what I used to do last year, the year before, is I would kind of hop around from watch party to watch party, right? I'd jump in and see what Graphic Raider and all them are doing. I'd jump over to Chat Sports, see what, Mitch and Chugs are up to. I'd jump over, who was the other one? No, never mind. I jumped into that other one a couple of times, but that's not my spot. That's not where I belong. And then, there's Raider D that does it too, man. There's a handful of us, right? And so I don't get salty if, somebody's over there or whatever, but hop around, man. Come visit us. Ernesto, who made the initial report on Malcolm Koonce's knee injury? Was it Deshaun Jackson? Come on, man. Oh shit, that's the best thing I heard all day. Oh man, yeah. No, I think it was Deshaun Jackson for sure. Man, that's another thing I want to talk about real quick, man. Y'all see that presser with Devonte Adams yesterday? That was crazy, man. They even had to go back and then repost it and like bleep some stuff out, man, because he was saying bullshit, right? But like I was not expecting that, man. I'm at work, I'm listening to this presser, I'm like working on my other screen, and then all of a sudden, like, boom, he just hits it head on, man. And I had to stop and just like, what? Like, uh, Devonte Adams was not playing no games, man. He straight up was just like hitting it head on. Like, dude, no, I ain't never told you shit about nothing, And I thought that was good, man. Because I was wondering, like, well, Deshaun Jackson said this stuff on the herd, and this is a big show, right? And then silence. There's just straight up crickets from Devonte Adams, and it's like, come on, dude, you got to clap back. You got to say, hey, that's Cap. Because if you don't, then that leaves us to assume that Deshaun Jackson did have this conversation with you. And I don't know, man. It was just weird to have that silence, right? And then he came out and he said it, man. And so I like that he had the confidence to just come on and just be like, yeah, I've only ever talked to that dude a couple of times, and I ain't never told him anything like that. The thing that did kind of concern me, though, was when he said that the only person that he really truly talks to about his feelings about things is his wife, and that she's not leaking anything to the media, which means that he has voiced some concerns and frustrations with his wife, right? That's cool, right? You should be able to do that as a man, right? That is like, my wife is like that person for me all the time, right? Where if I'm like fucked up about some situation, damn, did I keep cussing today? If I'm all messed up about some situation, man, I go to my wife right away, man, and I vent to her, right? And I talk to her about it, right? And like, she's always able to ground me and get me in a position where I'm able to look at the situation objectively, and then, I don't behave that way or act that way with the person or the situation. Instead, I get to process it and then move forward with strength. And so, yeah, it's very clear that Devonte Adams does that with his wife. And of course, he's had frustrations, man. He went from being with Aaron Rodgers and saying, I don't want to gamble on Jordan Love. Send me over to the Raiders so I could play with Derek Carr, right? And then everything just went to crap with that whole season. They get rid of Derek Carr. All of a sudden, he's playing with, I can't remember his name now. Dang. He's on the Broncos now. Somebody help me out. Somebody help me out. I can't think of his name. Anyway, ends up with that backup quarterback. No, not Jimmy G. He's like a former Patriot, man. I gotta look this up, right? Somebody's gonna get it before me, man. Jarrett Stidham. Jeez, man, I can't believe I couldn't remember his name. So then he goes from Aaron Rodgers to Derek Carr, which is already a step down, right? It was his college QB, so he had some confidence there. Cool. And Derek Carr could get him the ball. Then he plays with Jarrett Stidham. Then he comes in and plays with Jimmy G, Brian Hoyer, Aiden O'Connell, and now Gardner Minshew. Of course he's going to be upset. Of course he's going to have some feelings. Of course he's going to have frustrations that he vents to his wife, but for people to be out there with this cap saying, oh, well, he's telling me that he feels this kind of way just so they can get some clicks and maybe go viral, man. I don't like that, man. You know, I do my best to stay away from that kind of like clickbait kind of stuff. Like, of course, you got to put some stuff out there that kind of like it looks interesting, so you want to click on it, right? But like when people put out like just like I don't know, man. It just I don't really have a strong respect for that kind of style of things, like the fear mongering or putting something out there like um that's not true, just so people will click into your video and then you can say, hey, yeah, no, that's not true. It's like, well, I don't know, man. I don't like to do that. So like I always say, if you guys see me doing some kind of stuff like that, call me out. I don't care if you call me out privately, publicly, whatever. Call me out because I don't want to be that guy, right? And it can be easy to get kind of sucked into um, trends and just trying to stay relevant, stay in the algorithm. You know I took a huge hit on the algorithm because I didn't put a single video out in June, and I haven't recovered from that, man. You know, I was getting multiple thousand of views on videos I was putting out before that. Um, you know, lives had a lot more people in them. I didn't put out any videos, and now it's like the algorithm is just not in my favor, man. And it's like, you know what? It is what it is, man. I'm not gonna not be true to myself in order to get clicks. Just I don't want to do that, man. So that's really, we've been here over an hour, guys. You know, my kid is he's been chomping at the bit ever since I told him I was gonna go live because he wants to play, he wants to do some stuff, and I'm gonna go spend some time with my kid, man. Real quick, I just gotta address that. You think Mac's gonna get 2 sacks? I'm gonna make a bold prediction. I'm gonna say they shut him out. That's not my lack of confidence in Khalil Mack because Khalil Mack he's good, but yeah, I want to say they're gonna shut him out. Let's see how that goes. All right, no name, show up on the live stream, man, and call me out if Mack gets his 2 sacks. All right. All right. I will see you guys on Sunday for the watch party. Like always, I love you, nation. Catch you on Sunday.